Welcome to Athletic Ambitions with me, Fiona Carter.
And me, Tom Barlow.
We are here to share the stories of our Cass and Friends athletes, aspiring Olympians and world champions. We will also interview elite athletes and professionals. They will be sharing their stories, the ups and downs and bumpy ride that their journey may have. We will learn how they persevere and deal with setbacks, train and compete at the highest level, and how their mindset helps with every step of the way. So if you want to hear about our upcoming athletes and learn from the best, this podcast is for you.
This is Athletic Ambitions, where every journey begins with a single step.
Hi Tom, really lovely to see you, to catch up on our Athletic Ambitions podcast. We did our first podcast back in May 2024, so we thought it was about time we did another one, the two of us, just to catch up on where we both are with our training and sport and our identity, careers, all sorts of things going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a while, 2 years now, and a lot happens in that time for sure. So I suppose, the last time was the first marathon I did in 2024, which was when I started running mainly. So yeah, we've come a little bit of a way since then, and a few different things that I've been also doing along the way with work and stuff. So definitely plenty to catch up on.
Fantastic. So yeah, you came to Cass and Friends as a cyclist. So running was not your main sport, although you've turned out to be a superb runner. You did the Manchester Marathon in as we know in April, I guess, 2024. You'd started running in October 2023. So it wasn't a long marathon build, but you managed to do a time of 3 hours and 25 minutes. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, obviously, I think I joined Cass and Friends cycling when I was 17. Obviously up until 18 with the charity, and then I sort of stopped cycling when work was the main focus, let's say, and I was studying with a full-time job, so I was doing a degree apprenticeship in building surveying, and that's a 5-year course. So I took the pressure away from cycling when I was about 21, 22. Obviously, we'd been through COVID as well, so it was a bit of a lot of people stepped away from the sport during that time and focused on other things. So yeah, felt right to do similar for me. At that point realised I'm not going to probably make a career out of cycling. So did that. Then just focused on those things really. Kind of got unfit because I was mainly just doing golf and working. And then in October 2023, I entered the marathon for Manchester, which my dad was doing, and he'd already done quite a few. So it was a case of like, he was pushing me to do it and giving me some sort of focus for sure. Obviously, as with anyone running, you go through sort of injuries and whatnot. So I think from October to December, I was just like continuously injured and feeling better. And yeah, that was like hip issues and shin splints, which is so common. And, going from not running ever to sort of 40K a week straight away with some intense work in there. But yeah, I managed to get myself relatively fit for the marathon in 2024. I think my longest run was only about 27, 30K. But yeah, it was good. Did it in 3 hours 25. Loved the experience. And then at that point, I was just doing my degree and bought my first property as well. So it was all very go. And then sort of never really, always then I wanted to focus on trying to do a sub-3, which obviously you've done. And it's like the pinnacle in running, essentially, like, for an amateur, let's say, to run a sub-3 hour marathon. So that was also sort of the aim. I'd like to have done that in 2025, but I was finishing my uni at that time. So I was doing my dissertation and things like that. So I needed to keep a focus on that. And that year mainly just did half marathon work. 2026 then did the Manchester Marathon again, where I was aiming to go under 3 hours, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So yeah, one of those days.
one of those days. What to do that marathon time? It's kind of like everything has to align, doesn't it? On the day, you have to have the right conditions. You have to have fueled well. You have to have the right fuel on the day. So many things have to align. But you'd done some fantastic training in the year previous with your half marathon time and got that down to around about 1:25. Is that right?
Yeah, I ran so the October before I did Manchester half in 1:25:01, and
Yeah.
the month before that I did Cheltenham half in 1:25, and that's a considerably slower course. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was a bit disappointed with not going under 1:25 at Manchester half in October, but yeah, still really good, and I was pretty pleased with that progress throughout the year. And then I did the Lisbon half marathon. I think that was March 2026, and I ran another 1:25. So I still was like quite fit.
Yeah.
Um, the That's sort of the guideline, I think, for the 3 hour marathon is about 1:23, 1:24 for the
Absolutely.
half marathon.
Yeah, I think if you can get anywhere around 1:25, 120, just 1:22 to 1:25, they say sort of double your time and add 5 to 8 minutes, and so you were getting there. You were bang on target really for your
Yeah.
sub three, but on the day it didn't quite happen.
There or thereabouts. It's just, yeah, it's the alignment of everything, as you say. So fueling, sleep, yeah, all of that in the week or more really leading up, and definitely having some consistency with training. And I definitely lacked that. Up until March, my training wasn't overly consistent due to work pressures, and I was doing quite a lot of overtime and stuff, so I didn't end up sort of hitting the consistency week on week, but managed to get a good 4 to 6 weeks of consistency before the marathon. And then, yeah, marathon day, went through the half in 1:28:30 or something. I was like, yeah, feeling great.
Yeah.
I know I'm on time. We had a really good group. It was a hot day. That was the only thing. It was, again, quite warm. So I knew I was trying to take on water, like just sipping as and when you've got the fuel stations, and I was taking gels every half an hour, but sort of all backfired, and my body didn't really want to take all that on board. So I was definitely struggling with water, and then at about 27K, yeah, so I was quite unwell, so I was, yeah, throwing up a bit, and
Yeah.
yeah, just sort of had to see it through from there, but made light out of it really, because my dad was in the group behind, and he was going for good for age time for London. So I think he had to run under 3:35. So sort of waited up for him, and we ran the last 5K together.
Yeah.
To which he ran at 3:25, so he did really well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking
So
of
to,
that.
to run through the finish line with your dad, that's a memory that you'll not have again, perhaps. And so there's always going to be another marathon for you. You're so young. There's going to be many, many sub threes, but not many times where you would have run over the finish line with your dad. So I think in sport, sometimes we're disappointed with our performances, but there's often a silver lining or a learning from each one.
Yeah, I definitely put a lot of pressure on the marathon, and the pressure realistically I hadn't done in sport since I was cycling. I'd only really been pretty casual about what I was doing.
Mm.
I'd made it quite apparent that I wanted to go under 3 hours, and that was definitely there. And with other challenges, it was definitely going to always be a big ask, but um, there was a lot of pressure on it, and yeah, definitely, like you say, got the silver lining out of it really, and yeah,
Mm.
an amazing experience nevertheless. And at the moment in time, as a lot of people say when they do a marathon, is I'm not going to do another one, but I
Mm.
did say that for probably about a month, and then thereafter, I'm like, no, we still got to get that 3 hours at some point, so we'll find it one day.
Yeah. When I did my Ironman, I was like, I think that's one and done. But as I get a bit further away from it, not just a short amount of time like you do with the marathon, I'm kind of maybe just one more, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's addictive when you start looking at times and stuff, isn't it? And other people around you, like obviously, I can train with people that are doing around the 3 hours, and I know therefore that I shouldn't be a million miles off, but it's
Mm.
just getting everything right on the day, and consistency really.
Yeah.
But it's not everything, and that's a big thing, for me, is moving to running from cycling, is because my identity was so hung up on cycling for such a long period of time. And
Mm.
even when I stepped away sort of from cycling, it was didn't really touch a bike more or less until this year. Like, so that's like 4 years I've barely cycled, like
Interesting, yeah.
just sort of plodded around. But yeah, my identity was so caught up with cycling. So I sort of moved into running a bit more.
Mm.
But try and not keep my identity with running now. My identity is just me doing what I want with work and running socially and enjoy the social circle in running for sure.
And I think maybe having an identity, having many identities, it actually then does actually help the sports performance as well. Because if we put too much into one, too much of our efforts and our pressure into one identity, if things go wrong in that area, like we get injured or we have a bad race or something happens, then it's much more difficult to find the joy in other parts of life. But if you've got a bit of a balance, and what you've always seemed to have done very well is gone from school straight into your apprenticeship, and then you've been working really, really hard, haven't you, to get your degree apprenticeship and to become chartered, so that you
Yeah.
can keep working on your career progression at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of got lucky. So with the university approach, I never really wanted to go to university full time. Partially due to I'm not the most academic person in that sort of environment. Like, always thinking of like when I was doing A levels, I didn't want to do my A levels. I wanted to go out cycling, for instance, and um, you know that that was never. I'd have gone to university, put it this way, and not made the most out of it in terms of academically. Um, and then I think, yeah, having awareness of the other opportunities around you away from sport, and not everyone has to go to university, not everyone has to even do A levels and all these different things. Like, the awareness of that is really important. So yeah, I kind of landed on my feet really. I had a year out of after my A levels where I just worked in an estate agents because I wanted to get into property, and then moved into a quantity surveying role and did a 2-year HNC. Moved into a building surveying role halfway through that and finished my HNC, and then got a 3-year sort of managed to start the degree part 2 years already through. So I ended up doing a further 3 years for the degree. So yeah, I did a HNC and a degree in the 5 years, which, yeah, as I say, no student debt.
Yeah.
Really good learning experience. I'd say I learned arguably more in work than at uni half the time, and I think uni came quite easily to me because I'd already had sort of practical experience, could allocate certain lectures and things at uni to things I'd already done at work, so made the learning experience really good for me, for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. So going back to the running then, where do you think the pressure comes from now, or putting a bit of pressure on yourself to do a sub 3 hour marathon? Where do you think that's coming from?
I would say Dad's ran a 3:19, so I've got to go under that for sure. And he did that when he was like 55 or 57, something around there. So I'm going to be 26 in September. So yeah, definitely like to do that. And as I say, it's sort of the pinnacle to do a 3 hours. I know got Cheltenham half coming up this year. I'm in quite good shape now. So anything faster than last year's through 125 would be good. I'd like to get quite close to the 120 really. But again, it requires things to fall into place. And yeah, as I say, I know that realistically I'm not a million miles off the 3 hours. So just need to string it all together really and find the event. But don't think I'll be going back to Manchester for it. I've done 2 there now, and
Yeah.
some sort of exposure or experience elsewhere be amazing. So just need to find a decent course and actually get into one because they sell out so fast these days.
They sell out absolutely insanely fast. I'm looking at some 70.3s for next year, and I think some of them sell out in 7 hours. So yeah, you have to be really on the ball. And Valencia, which is typically a fast one as well, that's now a ballot system, which is a bit of a nuisance, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of them are quite balloted, and obviously year on year, I think London gets more and more entrants, and yeah, the trend of running is just colossal in the last sort of 18 months, which yeah, I would say I was just about got in before the trend boomed, but
Mm.
so many people doing high rocks, which is now like quite a common sport really, and that's gym and running, and yeah, therefore got into running and doing more events. So yeah, even local 10Ks, it's great for the sport and great for people that are more and more people into fitness for sure. But getting into certain events, it makes it more challenging and that is the only slight drawback. But I think ideally I'd like to go abroad to maybe Munich or Amsterdam or something.
Yeah.
But Amsterdam's ballot, so we'll have to see. They're quite quick, and I know then if we can get a good block together, I'd like to go under the 3 hour mark, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I know you're doing Frankfurt coming up, so I don't know what the course is like for that, but that's October time, isn't it?
October 25th. It's a flat course. It's a renowned to be a very flat and fast course. So hopefully it'll be good. Maybe the weather should be quite good as well. Because again, talked about Manchester being quite hot in April. The weather's changing, isn't it? So the spring marathons are getting hotter, the autumn marathons are getting hotter. So yes, it does make a difference on your times with the weather conditions.
Yeah, obviously, I think Valencia's December, isn't it? So the thing I find is doing all the training in January, February, March time for a spring marathon is just absolutely brutal.
It's really hard.
It's dark morning and night, so as soon as you finish work, you're going out in the dark, and it's wet and it's cold. So the idea of doing an autumn marathon appeals a little bit more to me. You'd be in marathon block now, and it's still great weather. I mean, it's arguably too hot at the moment, but there's some training benefits to that as well. So
yeah, no, it's fantastic. Yeah, no, I think you can't complain at this summer. I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, it's good.
Good. And yeah, so you did your Ironman as well, the Qashqai Ironman, since we last spoke.
Yeah.
But mainly focus. I know you've had some injury issues, so coming back to running as your main focus at the moment.
Yeah, so I got into the Ironman distance because I was working with a coach who's a very good Ironman or triathlete himself, and I was seeing lots of my friends locally doing triathlon, thinking that's fantastic. I'd kind of had like the feeling of doing one 10 years before, but just because I couldn't swim, I just kept saying no, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. So I didn't learn to swim. I just kept putting it off, and then and then I got my hamstring injury. So that was like the silver lining of that was to actually be able to swim, because I couldn't really do any running or cycling. So pretty much the whole of 2023, I swam many lengths in various leisure centres or open water, and got to the point where I could do the 4K swim for the Ironman, and just had an absolutely fantastic race on the day. I think everything did kind of come together. I had a little bit of cramp in the swim, which didn't matter because you don't really need to use your legs. Had a bit of tummy ache on the bike, but didn't really matter because you don't really need to use your tummy on the bike. You just need your legs. And then the marathon is my favourite part, so I just changed into my running kit, put a bit of lip gloss on, and then ran the marathon, and really absolutely loved every single minute of it. And so yeah, at the time I said never again, but maybe. I've got a friend, I'm working with a friend at the moment and on her mindset, and she's a bit older than me, she's 67, and she's wanting to do an Ironman next year, so she's kind of inspiring me to do another one at some point.
Yeah, it's a natural transition for me. I feel like a lot of people say to do triathlon, realistically the only thing I'd need to sort out would be my swimming, but it just doesn't appeal too much to me. I think I'm too I'm a bit too much of a clean freak realistically, and going in the water first, I'd rather, if that was last, I'd probably do it, but get bike, I just can't do it really. When I think it's from cycling as well, you always used to point out the triathletes when you're cycling, and they never had their socks on or things like that, and we always used to no socks, or no show socks on the bike, it's just not very Euro, and we just always think, they're just choppers really, realistically not at all, but it's just like the identity to that. I'm not sure I can jump into it yet, but maybe one day, maybe when I need an urge to do something else. But yeah, for now I just want to keep sort of cracking on with the marathon stuff, and if we can get my half marathon and 10K time down over the next month, might put me in a good position to do one next autumn. Really, that's sort of my thinking.
Definitely, and I don't know many people who do a sub-3 on their first attempt. It was certainly 3 or 4 attempts before I managed to get mine done. And when you actually do it on that 3rd or 4th or 5th attempt, it makes it even sweeter when you do it if it's taken a little bit of time to do it.
Your first sub 3 hours was not even an official event; it was in COVID, wasn't it? Which
it was in COVID,
in terms of not having all the crowds and allocated route and everything, the buzz from the event itself, I feel, gets you faster. So I can't believe you did that, to be honest.
No, well, that was almost one of my best races in a way, because I had my family there watching, which was really nice. I had friends helping me pace me, which was really nice, Henry and Fee. So yeah, there was constant. I remember talking to Fee for quite a lot of it, because she paced me in the first half, and then Henry joined me in the second half, and I was talking to him, and then in the end I said, look, I need to stop talking because I should probably focus on what I'm actually doing here. So that was quite nice.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, yeah, definitely a good thing. But moving into sort of charity over the last 2 years, as
Yeah.
obviously staying on running, we'll go on Evesham 10K, an event we've had a cake sale at year on year now, and it's a really
Yeah.
good local event, and we've both ran it. I think might have been my first sub 40 10K actually there. But yeah, a really good local event. So I suppose, yeah, you can probably give me some more on the progression of Cass and Friends over the last couple of years. A number of athletes we're supporting right now, which has been really good. And I know we've been doing a little bit more on sort of offboarding and that awareness piece I was talking about, like earlier, with regards to opportunities within sport and outside of sport. It can't always be everything, can it?
Yeah. No, we've the team at Cass and Friends have done a great job supporting the athletes. I reckon we've supported now, since we started now in our 11th year, supported over 80 athletes and given grant funding of over £800,000 in those 11 years, and probably mentored more than 50% of our athletes, plus other athletes as well. So we always do our performance mindset mentoring program, which I think brings huge benefits to them in terms of setting goals, understanding how to manage the pressure, their identity, dealing with fears and anxieties, really building on their confidence and strengths, and understanding how their brain works, essentially, because we know that a lot of sport is the sort of mental fitness as well as the physical fitness is hugely important. So I think the charity's done really well in maintaining being small but being really high quality. We try to keep our athletes, try to keep supporting sort of between 25 and 30 athletes every year. And yeah, it's been lovely having your support as a trustee and somebody helping us do our offboarding, because again, the offboarding is important because the athletes leave us at age 18, and then we can help them a little bit maybe with their athlete branding and sponsorship. And that's something that we're going to try and do a bit more of, actually, because we also do our community events. So a couple of times a year, we get all our athletes and parents together. We either do a session on, I don't know, sports psychology or strength and conditioning or nutrition. And in the autumn, we've got a professional triathlete coming to talk to our athletes about social media and influencing, because he's turned himself into kind of, I guess, somebody who's very well known now on social media through being a little bit different with his sport and how he's approaching it. So it's really nice that he's going to be able to come and share his story. And actually, he would have been a Cass and Friends athlete, but when he applied to us back in 2018, he lives in Malvern, and we weren't supporting athletes just in that area. So that's really nice. And I think, as you say, just helping our athletes identify with something other than sport, because, as we keep saying, it's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it, this sporty journey?
Yeah, obviously all those things are so good as well, aren't they? A lot of people just get caught up in, let's say, the cost of sport, but having the benefits of nutrition and psychology and strength and conditioning, all these different things to all come into one place. And even when we do sort of the community events and have guest speakers in, obviously we're keeping it all very local, which is great for all those involved, really. Not trying to run before we can walk, essentially, but there's definitely so many other benefits and things that have grown over the last two years, and even beyond, obviously, now with the mindset course being such a big part of the charity that you deliver so frequently and so well. So something more and more people should definitely look at, really, is that sort of sports psychology. Something I didn't really go through, and at the time I was doing competitive sport, and now I think I've got much more level-headed now.
Yeah.
those pressures off. But yeah, I think some of those would have been hormones when I'm 17 and 18 as well, just absolutely going wild on the bike and stuff. But yeah, definitely amazing things that we've been doing over the last few years, and yeah, showing up at events all the time. And we did the park run not too long ago as well, which I think there was like 800 people that were at the park run that day, and
Yeah.
I think we sold out of cakes within no time at all, really. It was so good.
No,
So
that was a really nice event, wasn't it? Because one of our trustees, he's the director of the Cheltenham Park Run, so he let us have the mic, didn't he? And we just, yeah, just sort of talked about the charity just as a local thing. And so, as you say, the 800 runners, at Park Run just heard a bit about what we were doing, and some of them were like, thank you so much for what you do for local athletes. And then, like you say, we had the cake sale. So, trying to do a few more small events like that, just to raise awareness. But it's a double-edged sword because we have a little bit of a waiting list at the moment for athletes. So it's nice to have people who want to be part of Castle Friends, but can't take too many people on board because we want it to remain small and high quality.
yeah, it's definitely, and the cost of sports in particular is only increasing year on year with travel, and even race entries. If I looked at people that I know still doing bike races, I think they've nearly doubled probably in the last 5 to 10 years. It's just ridiculous, and it's about the quality is a big part, but the awareness that for the charity has been really good, and it's only increasing, and especially after the 10-year anniversary last year,
Yeah.
It's only been going in the right direction through your hard work primarily as well. So yeah, amazing, really.
We've had an exciting nomination. So we'll hear on the King's birthday, Tom, 14th of November. Keep your fingers crossed. We might be nominated for the King's Award for voluntary services, which is really nice because all of our helpers, volunteers, everything, the people who work with Cass and Friends, we're all volunteers. So nobody's getting a salary, and it's all voluntary time. So we've been nominated for that award, which would be a massive accolade, and it would be just really nice to receive that and go to Buckingham Palace and pick it up, which would be great.
Yeah, and also it's great for further sort of like donations and things like that when we're it's clear that what we're doing is going in the right direction and supporting the right people, and as you say, everything's voluntary as well, so it just further makes it solidifies what we're doing, I suppose, and what we're doing particularly. So yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, moving forward, then I suppose other than your Frankfurt Marathon, there's got to be more on the radar for you, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, Frankfurt Marathon, and then I have actually got a sneaky entry for Manchester Marathon next year. I love Manchester Marathon as well. My mum lives up there, so I've done it twice, and I'd love to do it again. It's an easy, it's great to just stay with her and go and do it, and just nice and easy. And then, yeah, I'd love to do another 70.3. I didn't manage to do the Ironman World Championship 70.3 last year in Marbella because, again, the little hamstring injury niggled and I just didn't race. So I'd love to do Malaga 70.3 because Marbella is no longer on. They've kind of changed it to Malaga. So that's in October next year. So maybe Manchester Marathon and Malaga 70.3 will be on the cards for me next year.
Good. And I suppose I'll just keep trying to focus on my work, which is a big thing now. And yeah, the point I'm at with post-degree, just focusing on the right things and getting a balance of everything, which is pretty much impossible at this age. I've established there's so many opportunities and things to do all the time, especially with running and trying to be somewhat fit. You can't do everything, as my mum always tells me, but I do try and do everything. So we'll see what we get up to next year for sure.
I don't think you'll change that personality, Tom. It's great, isn't it? And I think you just, try and keep as much of a balance as you possibly can. Keep the balance and the perspective on the sport. I think sometimes we can take it a bit too seriously, can't we? And we're supposed to play sport, and it's called the Olympic Games for a reason, isn't it? Because it's meant to be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think playing a bit of tennis as well and doing other bits and pieces, going back on the bike more this year has been really good to just diversify and take some of those pressures off for sure. And just enjoying everything really, and the people in and around the sports that we do and where we live is just so brilliant really. So I'm looking forward to Cheltenham Half on the 20th of September. I know the atmosphere will be amazing. It's not the fastest course at all, but we
Yeah,
definitely have a really good atmosphere with it being such a local course and see
yeah,
some people you know. So
yes.
yeah, and it does get a good show of athletes as well. You know, some real good runners, some sub-70 runners for sure. So yeah, really good.
And if we catch up again in 2 years' time, Tom, we may have had some of our athletes go to the Olympics in 2028. We've not had that yet. We've obviously had loads of athletes going to World Championships and European Championships. And obviously for some sports, there isn't their sport in the Olympics. So we support all sorts of different sports, as you know. So, but some of the sports we do support have athletes that may well be at 2028 at LA Olympics. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of them if we save it up for another 2 years.
Yeah, well, 2 more years, yeah. I'll be getting old then, but for sure, the Olympics is always a great goal for the charity to get people there, and
Yeah,
someone we've supported and someone who's come from the local area is always an amazing thing, whether we've got anything to do with them as an athlete or not. So
yeah,
the chance that we might do is amazing, and we've definitely got some really good athletes, and we've had some really good people that turned 18 over the last couple of years. So
yeah.
great to see some of their progression, and yeah, I think we'll keep doing what we're doing. I'm sure we'll get there in the next two Olympics for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Oh, Tom, it's been so nice to talk to you today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you. It's always good to catch up, and not just always on runs or over a coffee, but yeah,
Yeah,
to do a bit
it's
more of
great.
it.
It's great doing the long run with you because I can just chat away, or you're just chatting away, and it seems to go like super quick. A 90-minute one feels
Yeah,
like about half an hour, doesn't it?
it does go quick. It's always plenty to talk about.
Brilliant. Well, have a good day, Tom, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much, Fee, and I'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Athletic Ambitions. We hope you found this episode of interest, and if so, be sure to send this to your family and friends who might also benefit. If you're interested in donating to Cass and Friends, the links are in the description, and we'll hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks, Tom and Fee.